I'm Kate Wilson and I hope you enjoy my video presentation on India. Scientific evidence has shown that changes in climate have occurred over the past thousands of years, which have given ecosystems time to adapt. However, the rate that these changes are progressing have made adaptation of ecosystems vulnerable. India's basic health requirements will be affected by climate change, including water, air, shelter and food. As climate change causes extreme weather patterns, this impact on the availability and quality of food, water and air can lead to a resurgence of diseases and create unstable environments. India is home to many of the world's poorest, and climate change will only decrease nutritional and sanitary conditions and push India deeper into poverty. India has a rich and diverse landscape as well as varied climatic conditions consisting of mountains, marine and island coastlines, arid deserts and tropical forests. In 1992, countries joined an international treaty known as the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change to reduce the average global temperature. 2 years later, due to inadequacy, a new negotiation procedure was adopted, known as the Kyoto Protocol. The main objective, especially since 2010, is for governments to agree on reducing emissions so that global temperature increases are limited to below 2 degrees Celsius. The convention also aims to promote stabilisation of greenhouse gases to prevent interference with ecosystems, allowing them to adapt as well as enabling economic development. India ratified the UNFCCC in 1993 and the Kyoto Protocol in 2002. Under the convention, India does not have a legally binding agreement. This is due to India and other developing countries reasoning that historically industrial activity by developed countries accumulated to the greenhouse gas emissions, and therefore their emission targets should be more significant than that of India. Unfortunately, in the pursuit of social and economic development, India will result in an increase in their greenhouse gas emissions. India, like other developing countries, has low greenhouse gas emissions levels per capita. However, it is the third largest of emitters behind China and the US. India is a participant in the Clean Development Mechanism established by the Kyoto Protocol. The CDM rewards developing countries who reduce their emissions with emissions credit, which they can then use toward their Kyoto targets. India currently has 345 CDM projects, which is more than any other country in the world. To show that India is committed to reducing the effects of climate change, the Ministry of Environment and Forests presented its second national communication to the UNFCCC. This paper was a national effort in which over 200 experts from various institutions collaborated in an opportunity to identify the gaps, constraints, and capacity needs of the country and to also fulfill their national obligations. India is closely tied to the natural resource base, including forestry, agriculture and water. A fifth of India is under forest cover, and the promotion of afforestation is increasing this by 0.8 million hectares a year, despite the pressures of population growth and economic development. The increase is also neutralising 11% of India's annual greenhouse gas emissions. There is effort to implement programs which will improve forest infrastructure and control forest fires. However, there is still little knowledge and understanding of climate change and forest response related aspects in India. India has adopted space technology in an approach towards development of land, including agriculture and water resources at watershed levels. The implementation of these programs has resulted in reducing soil erosion, moisture conservation and increase in crop yield. India's greenhouse gas emission status is currently sitting around 15% lower than the global average. The factors that have contributed to this are an expansion of the public transport system, improved energy efficiency, energy pricing reform, and an increase in renewable energy. There are proposals for India and developing countries to reduce their emissions by 20 to 30% by 2020. However, India has announced that its National Action Plan on Climate Change will be appropriate to their situation. In dealing with climate change, the NAPCC is promoting 8 new mission strategies based on the concept of development, natural resource conservation and technology. These outline existing and future policies and programs addressing climate mitigation and adaptation. The plan identifies 8 core national missions running through to 2017. These include a solar mission, a mission for enhanced energy efficiency, a mission on sustainable habitat, a water mission, a mission for sustaining the Himalayan ecosystem, a mission for a green India, a mission for sustainable agriculture, and a mission for sustainable knowledge for climate change. The Indian government is currently mandating the retirement of coal-fired power plants in exchange for these renewable sources. India is home to nearly 1.2 billion people and is growing at a rapid rate of 1.3% per year. India is now seeing an increase in its economic growth. However, it is still a developing country with the largest number of poor people in the world. 45% of India's children live in poverty. Nearly 600 million don't have access to electricity. Yet India has more billionaires than the most developed countries, and the middle class meet Western consumption standards. These characteristics and the current economic and development status of the country could put pressure on India to be environmentally sustainable and keep up with their planned targets. The uneven distribution of wealth should possibly be looked at a national level. This is unlike any other developing country and could be a disadvantage when India puts forward their needs to the UN. India may not be going the right way by resisting calls by developed countries to take on specific targets for the greenhouse gas reductions. Conflict with developed countries, especially major emitters, will not help the cause of climate change and only create ineffective stubbornness. If India and other developing countries collaborate with the Annex I countries in programs and projects, tensions could subside. India has taken stride to mitigate and adapt to climate change. Although India has declared its commitment to the social and economic pursuit, it will not allow per capita GHG emissions to exceed the average per capita of the developed countries. This cap is required so that developed countries don't go over their limits too. It is India's view that the planetary atmospheric space is a common resource of humanity, and each citizen has an equal entitlement to that space. It's a step in the right direction for India to take on various technologies and renewable sources in place of coal. This will create new jobs and new industries, a cleaner atmosphere, and it will be cheaper in the long term. This seems to be the case for both developing and developed countries as well. Adopting similar mitigation strategies put these countries on the same agenda, and it will be easier to measure emissions and usage. Thank you for watching this presentation.